Hello YouTube, me again. Today I'm here to tell you 5 quick stories from the road that came to me today. Out of the dozens and dozens and hundreds of small anecdotes I have, these are the first 5 that came to mind today. So that's what I'm going to talk about. If you'll excuse me. So, which one of these happened first? I think it was this one. When I was in North Carolina, almost a year ago, actually, I hitched to the Outer Banks after I was in Asheville, and then I was heading back west across the state, gonna go up back home to Michigan, and I couldn't tell you exactly where I was, but I woke up, packed up my tent, walked down to the gas station to freshen up, and oh my god, this might be a TMI, but I found a tick on my balls. Yep, this is not a drill. One of those bloodsucker, alien-looking head crab motherfuckers, he decided my cash and prizes had the most succulent juices. And he was probably right, but at the same time, dude, I need that. Anyway, got him taken care of, bought me some boiled peanuts. Oh my god, do I miss boiled peanuts. What the fuck is wrong with all these Yankees in the Midwest not boiling their peanuts? It's ridiculous. But went there, did my business, ate some peanuts, went back to the ramp, was stuck for 2 hours. Just standing there for 2 hours. And there wasn't a lot of traffic. It was pretty early in the day. But usually I'm out there less than 15 minutes these days. And that's not an exaggeration, because it's how what this taught me works, right? There's a saying that a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. And I think it relates a lot to the concept of divine timing and letting the higher mind take care of what it knows you need, but in its own order, right? Not trying to make things happen, trying to let things happen. Because I can't make people pick me up. That's why I was stuck for 2 hours. But then I got a ride, and they dropped me off, and not even 5 minutes later I got another ride, and that happened 5 times. I had got 5 rides back to back to back to back to back. Yeah, 5 in a row. I waited less than 5 minutes for every single one of them. It was just just hold on for a minute. We're setting all the dominoes up, and once they're ready, we're gonna push them for you. Because I was just chilling on the ramp, and I used to get really frustrated and irritated when I had to wait that long, and it forced me to be better at patience. But when you realize what's actually going on, that things are gonna work out, you just have to have a lot of faith and trust. Boom, 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 rides, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that this is always happening with all of us. Have you ever had just such a great day, you woke up feeling good, and then everything pans out amazing? My friend Wes was telling me when him and some other friends were in Chicago, they're driving down the road, and they hit every single green light or walk sign, whatever it is, for all night. And I'm like, yeah, you just get in the flow and go. There really is a river of life, and if you stop doubting where it's trying to take you and paddle with the stream, just be patient, have faith, you start going a lot faster and get 5 rides back to back, right? And another time, just the higher mind connecting to the lower, that really showed me that there's so much to spirituality and the occult, just with little tiny things like this. I'm pretty sure I was in Ohio. I can't remember what trip it was on, but this very kind woman picked me up, drove me down the highway, dropped me off at a truck stop, right? And she was like, "Have you ate today? Like, I'll buy you a meal if you need it." And I had like an hour or so ago, right? And I was like, "No, honestly, I just did. Thank you so much. I appreciate it." And she's like, "All right, good luck to you." Blah blah blah. Said goodbye. She drives off, right? I'm outside the gas station, and I'm about to walk in, but I'm thinking, do I actually have time to like get some water and freshen up, or should I just go out and get a ride? And something in my head was like, there's someone coming, get out there right now. So I just didn't want it, like, nope, okay, not going to the gas station, I'm going up to the ramp, right? And I mean, was it a genuine impulse or just me overthinking things, trying to give myself like signs? At that point I didn't know, but so I'm walking up to the ramp, and then I see a car like coming down the way, right? So I'm running to the ramp. And I get there like immediately as she turns, this woman in her Jeep. And she sees me and she just smiles and she stops. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is some glitch in the Matrix shit, right? But just following your intuition can lead you down so many places. And this next story goes into that perfectly. On this last trip, I had a job briefly cleaning motel rooms in a town called Panguitch, Utah. It kind of reminded me of Pick Me, actually. But, yeah, it was great. Worked it for just a couple days, really. Money's nice to have, but I like to hitchhike. And that's where I wanted to be, so I bailed. Janelle, I love you. You know it. No offense. But, so one of the days I was working there, it was about 11 or midnight, I'm not sure. It was pretty late. And town's pretty dead, right? It's not like it's a big place. But damn, am I fiending for a cigarette, right? And I'm thinking, like, I don't have any idea when the gas stations are open. I know there's one right down the way, so should I go get one? Like, cigarettes are so great, but then they're like cancer, and I'm like, eh. And then something in my head was like, you can get one, but you have to leave right now. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, let's see what's up. So I just walk out, take the left down the road, walk my ass down to whatever gas station it was. And I'm just wondering, like, usually my intuition's pretty on point. Let's see if I can actually find a cigarette somehow, right? So I walk down to the gas station, and it's like, there's one car there, but it looks pretty dead, right? And there's a cigarette drive-through, right? We don't have that in the Midwest. It's a real thing other places. But so I walk up to it just out of curiosity. What do I have to lose? And the attendant, the woman running the station, there's only one of them there this late at night. She was across near the other wall reorganizing some merchandise or whatever, right? So I'm like, oh, there is somebody here. It looks like they're closing or whatever, but like, what the hell, right? So I'm just like tapping on the glass, like I'm looking into some animal in the zoo, like, cigarette lady, come here, let me talk to you. And I'm doing it like for 3 minutes, right? I'm like, damn, this lady is deaf or some shit. And so eventually she like turns around and she sees me tapping on the glass. She's like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, hi, like, me again. And she walks on over and she's like, can I help you? And I was like, hey, I know it's late and I realize you're probably closing, but I'm just really addicted to cigarettes like half the other people on earth. Can you help a fella out, right? And she's like, I just counted down the register. And I'm like, well, but she's like, here, just have one. Because she smokes, right? She just threw me one. And booyah, there it is, right? And right before I left, she said to me, she's like, yeah, I thought I heard something, but it was really faint, like I thought I was talking to a ghost, right? As this thing in my head, God, spirit guides, entity, intuition, whatever that actually is, I thought I was talking to God. I'm walking up to the gas station wondering, like, I wonder if my spirit guide, whatever that thing was on point, right? Just like wondering about the intuitive connection. Then she's like, I thought I was talking to a ghost. And I'm just like, you and me both, my friend. And I didn't even tell her. I just giggled and walked away. But wow, that was weird, right? And another thing that was weird, before I left on this trip, I consumed some fungus and was in a certain state of consciousness that I was dialoguing with something else in my head. And it was telling me that not only is not only are you being followed on like social media, but there's also always the other side of the veil, disincarnate energies, right? And I've been wondering about those things for a while. And it just told me you've got 5 spirit guides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? I'm like, gee, that seems like a lot, but is that normal? I don't know. But then that was months ago at this point. But on this hitchhiking trip I recently got home from, I eventually got to San Francisco, right? Stayed in Oakland with my friend Ryan, hung out with my friend Drew briefly. Drew, I fucking miss you. Wish we saw each other longer. I love you, man. But at one point I rode the bus from Oakland across the bay to Frisco, took it was like the Mooney, whatever the transit is out there, all the way down to the beach, walked down there, and it was great. You know, finally stepping foot in the Pacific once again and realizing like you've gone all the way west you can go. Like this direction has timed out unless you want to get a boat. Right? And it's just a beautiful, beautiful moment in life, reaching that milestone. And I was just hanging out in the water for a minute, and I walked up the dune on the beach, and it's San Francisco, right? It's not Michigan, and Michigan's not Texas, right? You can smoke weed anywhere you want for the most part. And I'm on this dune packing a bowl, and god damn is it hard to smoke on the beach because the wind is ridiculous. But I'm halfway up this dune packing a bowl, and I start smoking it, and then there's birds, seagulls, whatnot everywhere, right? I wasn't really paying attention to it until I was, because within about literally probably 90 seconds, 5 crows landed next to me. It's crow, crow, and then it was like crow, 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 and I'm like just kind of smoking like in my head, not even really paying attention to anything, even though I'm on the beach and like I am in the moment. I'm kind of in my head in that moment. I just kind of realized like, wait, there's all these fucking crows around me. And this has been like a pretty big milestone for me, right? Because I've been looking forward to that moment in the trip for weeks and months before that, right? So it was a unique moment in my head before it had manifested, but then when it actually did, the addition of 5 crows, not 2 or 5 crows. I mean, crows are curious animals, but it was just one of those things that was like, this is an obvious sign confirming something. And I've always seen so many birds on on-ramps, and like every single on-ramp I go to, there seems to be some kind of bird. And I really think it is like an indicator of resonance with the other side, especially with crows, because they eat dead, decaying meat often. And in like archaic and occult symbolism, they are like a messenger between the living and the dead. Crows specifically. And I can not only see how like ancient cultures would have thought that up, observing crows in nature, but just with my own experiences with the just getting the thought that I had 5 spirit guides, just a specific number, and then weeks and months later having this happen before my eyes. Am I crazy? I don't know. It's quite the world, though. And the last story I have for you illustrates just that, too. I was hitching home from, I think I was just in Ohio that trip, but I was in about Dexter, Michigan, almost back home, and I had just got off the highway. Yeah, yep, was it? I can't quite remember. But this guy picks me up, and I was talking about my interest in not only marijuana, but other entheogenic plants. not necessarily for recreation as much anymore as like genuine spiritual tools for growth and development as they're meant for, right? And he just has this big smile on his face, and he pulls some mushrooms out of his pocket, and he's like, there you go. And I just like, fuck yeah, I just took him right there. And he's like, go look under your seat for it's like a plastic square, right? I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm rummaging through what's underneath me, and I found it, and it was a Cannabis Cup award. He won a Michigan like Cannabis Cup for the best like medical topical oil, right? This is what he does. He's the medicine man of our community, who I had no idea even existed, right? I can't remember his name, and I wouldn't tell you if I did, but what a guy. Thanks for the ride. Anyway, he's driving me up through down the road, and he's like, do you want to see a miracle? And I'm like, hell yeah, like always, show me these miracles, my friend. And he's like, all right, we're taking a detour real fast. So we go down these roads, wherever it was. Eventually we come to some property, right? He's like, we're going back to my place. I'll tell you a story, show this to you real quick, and then I'll drop you down the road, right? I'm like, all right, right on. We get to his land, and there he's got his ladies there, and they're living in a tent. They've got like a car and a wheelbarrow and like supplies and whatever. And then there's like a house that like damn near looked like it got burned half to death. And there's like a fence and like tarps and shit. And I'm like, so what's the deal, right? And he's like, you see that, right? I'm like, how could you not? The big black burnt hole in your fucking house? He's like, yeah, that's the one. A couple weeks ago, there's a propane tank in there, and it was fucking up somehow. The gas was getting everywhere. It was about to explode, right? Him and his lady are in that room with it, as close as I am to my phone recording this. They realized what's happening like immediately before it did, but the air pressure in the room was actually negative, so he can't open the door because it's getting sucked to the wall because this propane bullshit. I forget exactly what he told me, but so he's like, so I'm literally like opening the door, we're like hearing the gas escaping, realizing we're about to fucking explode. He's like, I'm grabbing the fucking handle on the frame, like yanking the fucking door open, right? And he eventually got it. He opened the door, and they ran out, and fucking kaboom. The room is just fucking Hiroshima and Nagasaki all over again, basically. And they both got out. You know, I don't think they really had any major injuries at all, because it was very recent, and they're up and at 'em just fine when I met them, if they did have any injuries. But so obviously the fire department gets called, right? Because damn near fucking exploded half his house to smithereens. And so the fire department comes, cops come, and he had like this fenced off area immediately next to his house. That's his fucking grow. He's got plants. Honestly, they were probably about 8 to 10 feet tall. These were some very large marijuanas, to say the least. And their bushy is just incredible. Just right here grown in Michigan. Completely legally, but the cops don't know that. As they roll up because you blew your house up, and there's a bunch of marijuana. They're like, well, fuck you, buddy. Why'd you get so high and blow us all to hell? Well, I mean, they probably were, but that's irrelevant, you know? Because shit happens, right? If you grow weed or not. And he said that when they first came, they saw the plants, and they're like fucking pissed. Like, they can't believe they caught this like huge drug dealer, and he's about to get arrested and all this shit. And they're like, what do you have to say for yourself, bucko? And he's like, I'm part of the Native American church, because you can also use plants as like sacred sacraments, like they are if you get your little membership at the Native American church, which should be ridiculous, because I was born here. Aren't I as native these days as anyone else? And making nature legal? Really? That's a good idea. Anyway, he says he shows his card to the police, and it was amazing because he saw this officer do a complete 180 almost instantaneously, right? Going from like the wolf on the attack because they think they found a criminal to, oh, you're actually a law-abiding citizen who just had some shit just happened and we're here because this is our job. Like, never mind. And he says like they completely dropped all of it. It was never a legal thing at all because he was within the legal limitations, and he's like, the firefighters are nice enough to hose my plants off for me. They're using taxpayer water dollars to fight fires to hose off marijuana plants, right? Brilliant. God bless America. But yeah, he just he's told me that story, and he's like, look at the plants for yourself. Like, there's not even really anything. And this area he was growing outside was not far from his house. It was maybe had about a 3 or 4 feet gap, just a little hall that you could like walk down between the wall of his house and the fenced-in grow op. And this area was blown to smithereens, on fire, right? His plants are fine. Him and his wife are fine. Room exploded, but whatever. That's a badass story. And now you guys get to share it. Yeah. Hitchhiking is a lot of fun, and you never know what's going to happen next. If all the ghost, spirit guide, other side of the veil stuff is legit or a complete phantom of my imagination, you know what? I try to question my sanity and realize it's all in my head, but the thing is, everything is all in your head, and we're all in God's head at the end of the day, because it's just one thing experiencing itself subjectively. I think a guy named Bill Hicks talked about that once. My nigga.